friends. Welcome to a fresh episode of The Human Weave. I'm your host, Rosh, along with my favorite co host, the one and only Yash. Today's episode is all about the power of music to transcend boundaries and bring people together. Music is a river that flows directly into the soul of everything that lives, nourishing it deeply. If you have ever closed your eyes and let music take over your being, you know exactly what I mean. Music has the ability to connect us beyond words. It's a universal language that speaks to the soul, fosters collaboration, and builds bridges where words sometimes fail.
In season one, Stories of Connection, we are joined by the incredible Stefano Baroni, a musician, music therapist, and a facilitator who has been using music as a tool for learning, personal growth, and collective transformation since 2009. Stefano has worked with corporate teams, educational institutions, and communities worldwide, leading immersive experience through drum circles, body music, vocal improvisation, and sound based wellness practices. His approach integrates elements of music for people, mindfulness, and sound healing to create powerful moments of connection. A TEDx speaker and author of Circular Music Innovative Strategies for Teaching and Learning, Stefano has collaborated with major companies and institutions, showing how music can break barriers and foster deeper human connections. Today, he leads Music is the Key, a project that merges music, neuroscience, and personal growth to create transformative experiences for individuals and organizations. In today's episode, we'll dive into his journey, the magic of shared rhythms, and how music can build bridges across cultures, emotions, and experiences. And most importantly, the divine piece of background music for the human wheel has been created by our wonderful guest today. Stefano, we can't thank you enough for this generous gift that you've given us.
It's a great pleasure. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the Human Weave, Stefano. We are beyond happy to have you here and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We can't wait to explore your insights on the power of music to connect, heal, and inspire.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here.
I want to start with your journey. At what age and how did you begin this journey with music?
Wow. This year, in 2025, I celebrate 40 years of music, 40 years of being in the music, and um, I'm 47. So I started when I was 7 years old playing piano, and music has always been my main passion, basically. But not just a passion. Music was a way to explore, to connect with myself, first of all, to explore creativity and to connect with other people. Music has always been a tool for me to transform emotions. It's incredible how you can express emotion, especially when I was feeling so good. I had the possibility to transform these feelings in music, and then transforming the music, also the feelings inside me were transforming. So it was a super powerful tool, and I really discovered this power, music power, when I was young. And then from piano I passed to guitar, and then I have a strange story, an imperfect story of training, because I'm a mechanical engineer, and for some years I studied mechanical engineering, and I used to work as a mechanical engineer, but music was always there. And once I got my degree, I decided to go back to music. I've always played with groups, with many groups, but when I got my degree, I decided, okay, I want to study, and I went back studying classical music, jazz music, and music therapy, and music education, and then body music, and circle singing, and drum circle, and cooperative music, and boom, everything. I was really hungry of, you know, having new inputs, of learning things. And today I can say that I had a dream. I had a dream. My dream was to live in the music when I was a child, and to have my an house, to have my home full of instruments. And today I can say that my dream is a reality because I have a lot of instruments, and most of all, I do the most amazing and incredible job in the world. I am a musician, community musician, and I help people to develop their potential through music as I did, as I am doing day by day.
You're completely immersed in that experience, and we can hear that from your voice, actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's a choice. I have a daughter. Now is 9 years old, and when she was born, I decided to quit my old job because for some years I was working as engineer and working a little bit as a music therapist, a music educator, and a musician. When she was born, I told myself, okay, now is the time to choose. What do I want to do? What do I want to do in my life? Do I want to be a normal father with a good bank account? Or do I want to be myself, a special person, doesn't care the bank account, but what I want to live and what I want my daughter to experience is happiness, basically. So if you have a dream, go on. Try to transform your dream in reality and believe in it. Trust the process, trust in yourself. And this is what I'm trying to do, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a very unconventional choice. Not many people would really choose happiness. People will always go incline more to the conventional ways of leading life. But it makes me so happy to hear you choose happiness over the bank account. And I've been following your music on Instagram. So when you develop this circular music, the approach of learning and connection, uh, how do you think it differs from the traditional music?
Well, I have lived the environments of classical music and classical music education. What I think is really important, I mean, in a Western music education approach, the approach is very theoretical. It passes through explanation, through math intelligence, logical intelligence, because you talk about the value of the notes, but that cannot be the starting point because we cannot talk about discipline if we don't talk about passion. Passion is the first thing, experience. So plant seeds. I've been working with children from since I think it's 15 years, maybe more. And they taught me that that's the most important thing. Passion. Light up sparkles, plant seeds, and listen. And so from the experience, you can see these little seeds starting to grow and becoming plants and fruit. And then you can have a classical approach that is connected with discipline. So, circular music is something that you experience in many different ways. It's basically a big environment in which I put voice, I put body music, I put drums and drum circles. It's a way to approach music that is really connected to experience, that is really connected with creating safe spaces. For me, the musical experience is an extraordinary experience which I can experience trust, first of all. And if we feel safe in an environment, then we can go out our comfort zone. We can use our skills to face new challenges. And that's really important for personal growth. If you are a child or if you are, even an adult. So For me, the experiencing music together is connected basically with trust. And when I add my studies, classical studies, even if I don't have a degree, I don't have a formal degree, and I do masterclass in the conservatories, in universities, and so on, I can remember that what was missing was trust. No, it's not about music, even if it's all about music. It's about feeling safe. It's about doing what we do because we love it. So, love is the most important thing in life in many different ways. If we love something and we do it, then what we do will be great. If we don't love something and we do it just for discipline because someone else is asking us to do it, we're not doing it with love. And it will be just frustrating when we face challenges and obstacles and whatever. If we love something, when we have to face a challenge, we will put more passion and more strength there because we love it. And so circular music for me is this: is trust, and allowing people to feel the trust, and allowing people to discover themselves basically, and their inner musicality, their inner possibilities, hidden skills. Because sometimes they, in the normal environments, they're not able to see some, some possibilities, some skills they have. But when you change the environment, they can see it, and that's magic.
Yeah, I'm just curious when you're talking about this. You talked about the safe space that circular music could create, right? Moving away from the theoretical, structured format of music where each note is important, and it's more like studying probably other subjects. And then when you talk about this, how does circular music help people embrace spontaneity or imperfection and access their creativity?
The focus on imperfection is something that I love, because for me, imperfection is not something that we have to avoid, something that we have to hide. But imperfection for me is our unique way of being. I've been working and I'm working in many, many different environments, from children to corporate people to other situations like mental health, people in jail, addiction, teachers, newcomers, and whatever. Really, in many, many different situations. And when you create a safe space, it's always like that. When you create a safe space in which there is one word that I love, that is playfulness, because we are playful beings. Human beings are playful, but when we grow up, we forget that we are playful, that we love to play. We call it in other ways sometimes, but playfulness is the most important thing. So if when I create safe spaces, when I am the first one to show who I am, I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not hiding my feelings, my imperfections. Um, is imperfection are what basically is defining me, and I love it. When I go fast, when I show people that there is no reason to be scared, and in a playful situation, in which I am the first one to jump in and create environment, then people accept to play, and in a playful situation, when you are playing, there are a lot of neuro scientific studies about this. It's strange because uh, playing is a way to is a tool for human beings to develop skills and strategies for life, and we can also go really outside our comfort zone without producing cortisol, that is the hormone of stress. So it's really powerful. It's a training moment, but it's a training moment that is not hard for people. It's fun. It's fun,
Mm.
and they can discover themselves, and step by step, from starting from all together. So anyone has to be at the center of the circle,
Mm.
but starting from the group and doing things together, then I can create the strategies, listening to the group step by step, to allow people, to allow anyone to discover more themselves and to express themselves.
Wow. It's a very vivid image also when you're describing it. So, when you say playfulness, and especially with adults, as you mentioned, that we tend to kind of shed that part of us somewhere when we start taking up adult responsibilities. But since the space can bring that back, I wanted to ask you, have you experienced like individuals feeling more confident, probably letting go of their masks? And do you think it can build a person's self esteem and confidence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, is the most important goal to help people developing their self-esteem and confidence. I mean, my daughter is 9, and 3 weeks ago, in January 25, we jumped together on a stage of a TEDx conference. It wasn't my first TEDx, so I'm used to to stay in front of stage of hundreds of people and playing and singing with them. So for me, it's normal and I love it. For my daughter, was the first time. She asked me to come with me, and I said yes, yes, please come with me. Let's do it together. And so there were 300 people playing boomwakers that are tuned tubes, and there were the two of us on stage, and she was playing the surdo. Surdo is a bass drum, so she was keeping the heartbeat rhythm for all of us. I gave her the responsibility. So it was a great experience, not to be on stage and to show how you are great and do it what you do, but it was a great experience of trusting each other, of facing the fear of the stage before we went on stage. So what can we do to face our fears? Or we have to go in front of 300 people, and all the experience and the connection there was on stage, because I always was looking at her, was smiling at her, and she was shy at the beginning, but then she enjoyed the experience, and it was great. And people were went emotional. Some of them, they were crying, because what passed, it was not the performance. It wasn't really a performance. It was being at service of our trust, our self-esteem, of our bond, and being at service of music, of people. And we have been a 300 people orchestra for some minutes. And she knows that she had the responsibility of keeping everyone together. And every time we do experiences like this, for example, with our children, but it's the same with adults, then I can see in my daughter the learning curve that raises up immediately. It's incredible. She's more grounded, she's more confident in herself, and it's great. So, absolutely, it's an incredible tool to develop self trust and self esteem. And I've seen really in many, many, many different environments and with many, many people.
Yeah, that's a beautiful journey. I'm sure that was a new experience for you also with your daughter on stage. When you were saying how important it is to have that connection, what makes this music such a powerful tool?
Yeah, what makes this music such a powerful tool? I think I love neurosciences because, I have this scientific background. And so I have music, and music is in my heart, but my head is somehow squared, no? I want to know, I'm curious. I really want to know, want to understand better what are the effects of music on human beings. I'm experiencing it, first of all, on myself. So years ago, I started to study how, for example, movement and rhythm affects the body, affects the brain, and the brain was my main focus. So I've discovered, even connected with all the brain gym disciplines, that when we move, when we connect, we are basically allowing our brain hemispheres to connect. So when every time I cross the sagittal plane, for example, when I move, when I coordinate arms and legs and even fingers, we are always developing something. For example, when we move fingers, we are developing the Broca area that is that is the area that is connected with language, with speaking. Because in human beings, the part of the brain that coordinate fingers and small movements is connected with the Broca area, is the same area. And so I started discovering everything, and then I went to feelings, because I love this theory of warm cognition. The theory of warm cognition is a theory that has been developed by an Italian neuroscientist, Daniela Lucangeli, and she discovered that when we learn something, we don't learn just the object, but we record the emotion, the feeling that is connected with that object. So when we experience something with positive feelings, then we will look for it, and we will do it often. When we experience something with that is in a negative way, for example, we were talking about the discipline, and then the incredible thing is that when we think to that object that we have recorded in a bad way, then we live back this experience in our body. And this negative experience, these negative feelings are longer than the positive ones, because we have to remember that we have to stay away from such experiences. And so studying and experiences and working with people, I've discovered that music is a powerful tool, because there is movement that help us to connect the brain. There is playfulness, there is togetherness, and when we are together, when we sing or play together, we know that we have an identity that is bigger than the single identities. It's a spiritual journey somehow, because you are connected to something that is bigger than you, and you can call it in many ways. So music, and this way of making music, is an incredible tool to develop human potential, really, in every fields. I mean, we are developing the brain, we are developing our self-esteem, we are developing our feelings, our emotion, our ability to deal with our emotions. We are developing soft skills or power skills. Now, what we used to call soft skills are not called so anymore, because people are discovering that all the hard skills can be replaced, can be done by AI or some other kind of artificial intelligence. Soft skills are powerful, so they are starting to call them power skills. And the power skills are the transverse, are the skills that we need for everything in life, in every environment, in every situation. And I've never experienced an experience that is more powerful than music to develop and to discover all these things. And yeah, that's it.
Mm.
There is so much that I can connect to even personally. Music has meant a lot to me through my childhood. I've learned a little bit of Indian classical singing, but I love being around music. It is something that I use when I'm very stressed out. I could just spend some time either hearing music or just singing, by myself. It just calms me down so much. I'm sure that is why also we refer to it as a universal language, right? It connects with everybody at the same time. Um, you mentioned about spiritual awareness. Could you share an experience, a story that you had with that kind of a self awareness through music?
Um, I want to tell you about an experience, a community music experience I did maybe in 2019. And I was in Sardinia. That is a fabulous island in Italy. It's like a Caribbean place. And the population is very strong. They maintain all their traditions, and I love to be there. I work really often there, and I organized this community music evening. I didn't know how many people there were. I didn't know who was coming, and there were 80 people. From all the ladies of that place living close there. There were singers from some choirs, some Sardinian choirs, friends, and 80 people. And for me, it was scaring. I was scared because it was the first time I was doing something so powerful with with so many people, and I had to lead a 2 hours experience, and I had no map. So first of all, I consider music a powerful a spiritual tool, because when you have to jump, you have to trust yourself, you have to listen to yourself, you have to make space. That is the first thing. And when I make space, when I breathe, when I'm focused on here and now, and I'm not focused on fears. And what if I'm making mistakes? There are no mistakes. When I'm in the flow, then the magic happens. And it was a super powerful, incredible experience. And we did some incredible music. There are some videos on YouTube, and it was incredible. There were people smiling and crying at the same time. We were one voice, and there were children, there were adults. It was just incredible. And we were hugging each other through music. And we have done really the most amazing music ever. It was incredible. And it was just a small experience, but it was the first one. In fact, in my book, I start the book telling about this experience, because for me it was really hard to jump. Okay, what can I do? Do I follow my ideas, the ideas I've written down, or do I go with the flow? And children taught me that making space and listening is always the best thing to do. And making space and listening is, I think, the most important thing that is connected with spirituality. If we make space, if we listen to ourselves, and we listen to the environment around us, I can call it a spiritual experience, and it can be lived every day, basically.
Yeah, when you said about just jumping in, it's more of you letting the higher potential of you just flow in the moment and not really restrict yourself by having that structure or the ideas that probably put you into the boundaries and the boxes.
Yes, yes, it's like that, because I've discovered that sometimes we are very focused on maps. It's like what you told me about, choosing, sure, the normal life, There is no normal, no? This concept is connected with the statistics. So there is no normal life. It's always a special life. But we have to decide how do we want to live it. So sometimes we apply simply a map that is given us by society, by our families, and so on. But we don't consider the territory, the human territory, and sometimes we don't consider ourselves. So, first of all, let's start from the landscape, from the territory. What can I listen? What can I see? And then I start building the map from there. It cannot be in the opposite way. For me, this is a fundamental approach in life and in music too.
I'm just taking in the spiritual part of it. I haven't experienced the power of music in that sense other than when we have gone for concerts, and that too concerts in India especially. You have concerts that have like huge crowds, and one thing I can connect to with what you are saying is, so when there's a concert and a singer singing live, there are people singing, like even if they're not good singers, they are screaming the song out, right? Like they are there in that moment, not caring if the other person is listening to me or am I singing it correctly. They are just there, and that energy is something I have experienced. But when you are saying about creating that safe space and coming out spontaneously with something, I can so imagine that to be such a powerful thing happening, so much of magic that is happening in that moment. Could you share with us how it breaks down the barriers? Like sometimes language is a barrier, or not knowing the people around you can be a barrier. How does this kind of thing individually break those structures of social, cultural, emotional, those kind of barriers?
Okay, I will answer to this question in a strange way. Sumo e yo sono ma e o. Suma e yo ba se ye hu bu wari. Izuma e do ma e hu. Yes, sumo e ba ye. Sumo pinkum. Sinimaye tengede pumbo sengede dumbade pumbumba. Sende dumbade putumba. Sende dumbade tunumba. Sende dumbade Sumbo bebe so bazumbege to dumba. Sende dumbade tunumba. Sende dumbade tunumba. Sende dumbade tunumba. Soma mageto do benega zomo beb. Sende dumbare tunumba. 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 Sono mama singando mama zero mowe ya bazo mode masegado do. Somo mama sende dumbenge bede goma se bede gedo. Sendo mama ye, se teke te tum, sende gara ye, se teke te tum, sende gara ye, teke te tum, sende gara ye, teke te tum.
Oh, that is amazing. I don't have words to describe. And I got my answer so clearly.
I'm happy. Yeah. If we communicate, we think that, words are the most important thing in communication, but we know that it's not like that. And when you are focused and grounded, when I sing myself, when I sing my feelings, what I am mirroring in that moment from people, then all the barriers, boom, break and fall down. Because there are no words. I was singing just syllables. I was improvising sounds, bringing people into an environment that is, an environment, the environment of the tales they used to listen when they were children, but it's in another way. So in that moment, I'm not the protagonist. I'm just, a channel. Music makes the magic. And I know a lot of people doing this. Sometimes when we are, if I was scared for the performance,
Mm.
I mean, fears are what you are passing to people. But if you are just enjoying the moment, then joy and playfulness is what people receives.
Yeah. Such a good food for thought that is, right? When you are in that moment and enjoying it, then there is no space for fear there.
Yeah, it's strange, but it's easy. It's easy. That's why I go on believing that passion and love are the most important things in life. Because when you do something with love, it can be music, it can be fresh pasta, it can be making furniture for people's homes, anything. But if you love it, if you love what you do, it could be making coffee. If you love what you do, then that love will be passed to people.
So, what makes people be so self-conscious about music or singing? Like, how do they overcome?
Well, I'm always fighting again fears, and but I want to use other words. I'm trying to hug people's fears. That is different. I'm not fighting against anything. I don't think it's the right way to do this. Every one of us, as is as their. What does it mean to be a professional singer?
Mm,
I'm not, when I work with people, I don't ask people to be professional. I ask people to be themselves. Probably what is important is changing the mindset, because sometimes we are really scared by making mistakes. Or what if I'm making mistakes? What if I'm not in tune? I'm
Mm.
not a singer. Sometimes I sing totally out of tune, but it's fine because in the moment, here and now, I do my best. So the focus is not being perfect, but the focus is being ourselves. And there are no errors. There are no errors. Everything is fine. And if we focus on on producing the best sound in the moment, the best sound that we can produce, it doesn't mean that it's an oh, ha, he, oh, whatever. It's fine. But if we do it fully, then it's fine. So when I say to people, don't worry, just do the best sound that you can produce here and now, and everything is fine. There are no errors. Or
mm,
sometimes I don't even say it, because when you talk to people, sometimes they go immediately in their mind and they remain
Yeah.
stuck in their fears. But when I start, like I started 2 minutes ago singing, and I just ask them to be involved, I just ask them to join me with simple things
mm,
or with the sound I want, then everything becomes easier. Because it's not a professional gig, it's an experience of trusting ourselves, of creating a safe space, of creating connection, of listening, of creating together through music. Music is not the focus, is not the goal. Making music is not the goal. Making music is the tool that we use to connect and to discover ourselves, to trust ourselves, and so obviously it's not always like this. It's not always fast. No, sometimes I have to work on it, but I can tell you that sometimes, very often, miracles happen, and it's great. because there are people that really have been closed in the boundaries they have built around themselves, or they have built around themselves because their families or the society have no told them to do it,
Yeah.
and they have never discovered the best part of themselves. And so when you open a small window, or when you give them a key they can use, then yeah, you light up a sparkle, and it can become fire, and it's incredible. It's really incredible, especially when you put all these little sparkles together. Then
Yeah, very true. I've had a couple of experiences when I take clients for therapy. They come to me, and whenever I suggest, with most of them with the emotional disconnection with their own self, when I suggest just at least go listen to your favorite music, they always see it as, okay, what do I do with the music? They really don't see the power of music beyond entertainment on the levels where it can heal and connect themselves. So, how do you educate such people who can see beyond just as entertainment?
yeah, sometimes it's not easy, you're right, but if you ask people to think to some songs they have loved in their life, and if you
Mm,
ask people to tell you why do you love this song, maybe are songs that they learned years and years ago, and these songs are always connected with some experiences, they are always connected with some feelings. So it's really easy to demonstrate the power of music, or the fact that music is not just entertainment, or is just fun, or distract the
mm,
mind from something else.
Yeah.
No?
mm,
If you think, for example, to mantras are repetitions. There is the power of rhythm. In every culture, there are different kinds of mantras. Mantras is music, is sound, is rhythm. So why do mantras work? Sometimes even for the words,
Yeah.
but especially uh, in different kinds of Asian cultures, India most of all, they knew that the most important things is the sound. The sound can bring you in a different dimension. The sound can allow you to be present. The sound and the rhythm and the repetition of that sound can help you to be focused, can help you to heal. We are sound, we are vibrations. So music can be entertainment, and this is a thing that is very new in our society,
mm,
because even 100 years ago music entertainment was a little part. All the rest was connected with tradition, with spirituality, with the roots, with community, with being together, singing and playing. It's what my grandparents used to tell me. For us, meeting even once a month in a house of a friend, they didn't have anything really. They were poor farmers without even a house, but having the possibility to stay together, to sing and dance together, to celebrate. Celebration is another important thing. Celebration is it was happens also in the concerts. That's why
mm,
people sing without
mm,
think, oh, am I in tune or not? No, celebration, be in the moment. That moments were really important. So now we have built all this overstructure, of entertainment and show and whatever. But music, if you open all these pages, if we clean all this surface, we can see definitely that under the sea there is a lot. The iceberg is definitely bigger than the part
mm.
that we can see up. over the sea.
Yeah. And that's something we experience. I was just thinking about how spiritually it is there around us in so many ways. When you just step out to walk, the birds you hear, the trees you hear. I'm especially talking because I'm surrounded by nature here in Mauritius all the time, and you just step out, there's constant that rhythm that you're talking about in nature. And I think most of the religions, all of the religions across the world and cultures across the world, they bring music to connect to God. There is that strong sense of, be it choirs in bhajans, you know, when people sing together, there is no right and wrong, no tuning in. It's just kind of a devotion that you're bringing out. It can bring a lot of emotions, like you said, and just wanted to know, when you have experienced this with people, are there people who you have seen personally connect with some difficult emotions within them? Is there a incident or something that struck you and you kept in your mind and you could share here?
Absolutely. Knowing that music is a powerful tool, I always try to be very concentrated and focused, and to listen and watch around me, because I'm not a psychotherapist, and I feel that sometimes I don't want to push too much, because sometimes it can be challenging. So yes, definitely happened many times, and I try not to enter really strongly to music, because honestly, I know what are my boundaries. I mean, I know what are my skills. I'm very connected, so I can face some challenges like this sometimes and hug, and just allowing people to cry, for example,
Yeah.
like I do often, and hug them and welcome them with their emotions and tell them, it's fine. It's fine. This is the power of music. So experience these feelings. And so sometimes and hug can save lives. And there are many different kind of hugs. Sometimes also music is an hug that is big enough for people. And sometimes, in some cases, it's more difficult, and you have to understand how to deal with it. I can, for example, it happened to me to work with autistic population, and for some of them, it's difficult to, for example, for some bigger sounds, so loud music is difficult to deal with. So for example, if I'm working with 100 people with drums, then it becomes difficult to, to be inclusive, and I have to find the right strategy, no, to bring people, to make people feeling safe, because we go back always to feeling safe. If I feel safe in an environment, I can allow myself to express my emotions, and to live my emotions, first of all. Because what we do usually is, okay, I'm feeling something, okay, go down, no? And we, even working in nature, no? You was talking about working in nature and experiencing the power of nature. I live in the countryside in an amazing region in Italy that is called Umbria, that is the green region of Italy. I have hills around me. Everything is green. And when I walk, sometimes in the sunshine or sunrise, in the afternoon or in the morning, when I look around me, when I listen, yeah, it's powerful. I can experience the magic of togetherness, of the fact that everything is connected. The world, the outside world, my inner world. Allowing ourselves to feel our emotions, I think, is a very important goal in life. And for me, as a professional community musician, allowing people to feel safe to express their emotions is very important. It's very important for them to be safe when they live their emotions. And when in a playful environment, you go in an extraordinary world, basically, and you reconnect with some parts of yourself that you forgot, that you have left behind. And this is powerful. It's a responsibility for me. I know, I'm aware of it. I try to pay attention to it because I want to help people to discover better themselves. I want to help people to create, to stay better together, to create creatively amazing things and amazing music together, to find out strategies to work together better. I want people to allow themselves to bring that energy in their environments, personal and professional environments. I don't want to people want people to, experience bad experiences, to feel excluded. So I'm always looking around me, trying to understand if everything is fine. I developed this, this awareness and this skill. Yeah. I try always to pay attention on people when I facilitate music experiences, because if they feel good, if they feel safe, then everything is going great and the magic is happening.
Yeah. How do you know that they are not feeling safe?
You don't have to use words to say that, to say to people that you're not safe. Nonverbal communication is powerful. So there are many signals. It depends on anybody. You can see, you know many signals. Closure, when you close your shoulders, arms, or when you try to hide behind other people. And I'm always moving and trying to, to look and connect, because sometimes even, I really often work in a circular environment. I love the form of the circle, because it's anthropologically talking, is a form that allows everyone to watch each other's back. No, it creates a safe space. I try always to move, to connect not just with the people that are close to me, but to connect with everybody. And it's what I try to do at the beginning of my experiences. So I try to allow people to connect with themselves. So sometimes even, seeing someone, just, have an exchange that can be just a smile, that can be just, it's I see you.
Yeah.
I see you, I feel you. So, yeah, that's it. Listening, making space, and then uh, creating this safe space through all the strategies that I have developed and the tools I have developed in the years. And I have to say thanks to all the children I've met, because really they were they were the most incredible teachers I ever had, because there are no filters, and you can see immediately when it's working, or when it's not working. You can understand immediately when you are serving their spirits and helping them to develop their musicality, their playfulness, their connection among them, or when you are using them uh, for your map.
I think it was last year at my kid's school. My son, he was singing on stage, and we had gone as parents to see him perform. And of course, we cheered our child, but there was this another kid, and I hadn't ever met her before. And she went on stage and sang a French song, and I don't speak or understand French. The moment she started singing, I don't know why. I had tears in my eyes. I just could not stop. Like they were just flowing. And that 5 minutes that she sang, I can't forget it. I don't think I'll ever forget those 5 minutes. It's something I can just close my eyes and hear her. I don't even remember her face as much, but that experience I had was very divine. It was every time her voice would touch a high note, I felt something physically in my chest. And so when you were talking about this, I could connect that I have experienced this, and at a place where I did not expect it. That was beautiful.
The power of music. Yeah.
Would you like to play a short piece for our listeners at this point? I think this is a beautiful moment to create that.
Absolutely. So I tell you something before playing. I'm living a period, a moment of intense transformation, and I'm allowing myself to be myself, to express myself. I'm allowing myself to say, you know what, you are a musical human being. So allow yourself to just to play, to enjoy what you play, and to share with the world. So every morning I wake up very early, and I grab my kora or my guitar, or I sing, and I improvise the first thing that comes in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, in my fingers. And I'm calling it music for the soul. So it it's what I'm doing now. It's not something that is improvised, but I have my kora here, and kora is an African harp. It's an instrument that I'm studying now. So I'm not a perfect kora player, but I love it. Yeah. So this is music for the soul.
That- I mean, that is a very important part of listening to this conversation today. I think we communicated so much to our listeners without using any words, and what could be better?
Yeah, that's the power of music. No need for words.
Yeah. Makes me wonder at this point, if I could ask you, do you believe it has the power to actually bridge the gaps between larger conflicts, wars, and things like that in the world, that actually tends to divide us?
I think that what happens in the micro happens in the macro. So I believe in the power of beauty. I believe that in a complex world, each one of us is a drop of the ocean. But if each drop is educated to recognize beauty and starts mirror beauty in the other people, start to understand how beautiful we are. If each one start to understand its beauty, recognize this beauty in other people, then you create connection, and a lot of drops, of beautiful drops, can make the difference. I believe it. Beauty, creating beauty and multiply beauty, is the most powerful revolution that we can do in the world.
So I have a question, Stefano. When you're playing music, was there any instance where you felt personally of your own emotions surfacing up which you were never aware of before?
It's always, yeah, it's always a jump.
Mm,
So you never know what happens when you jump.
mm,
You never know, and it's always a discovery for me. It's always a discovery. So, absolutely, yes. I always try, it's like lighting up some places of my souls and places of my inner life that I wasn't aware of. And it's great. And I think that music is accompanying me in this, you know, in this journey, in the journey of discovering myself. Is my tool. Through music, I can discover more myself because I can see it. I can see myself expressed through something that is concrete. I mean, that is real, because music is real. You know? It's like telling myself my story and allowing myself to say, you know what, hug yourself, see what you're doing, see what was your starting point, and go on and live every step of this journey.
And that's 40 years of your experience with music. And when you mentioned that you still discover uh, newer parts of you, it sounds so intriguing, almost mysterious in a way. I was just thinking, with this much of power and beauty in this connection that music builds, how could schools or learning or education systems kind of use musical experiences to teach children or just help children connect more deeply with each other? I think that's a foundational time of human life.
Yeah, this is one of my main goals in life. I'm a teacher trainer, so I used to work a lot with teachers and I'm working a lot with teachers. The focus is changing the mindset. I can tell you what I see in Italian school, no, in this small world in the Western education. I can see that really often teachers are not aware of what music is. They think that is something that you have to teach, is something that you have to, you have to. Music is some sort a list of rules that you have to give to children. What I can see most of all now, and this is, I'm talking about music, but I'm talking about in general about the education environment. If you really love what you do, you know that what you are teaching is not something that they have to record in their mind. But you know that math, physics, language, or whatever, music, art, obviously, especially music and art, are transversal tools that you can use to develop children potential. What I can see more and more is that we are living in a copy and paste environment. And this is very sad because the systems tell us what to do, tell us what to teach to our children. And if teachers and educators are not aware of this, they are creating, gears that will fit in a machine. But children are not a gear. Children are full of potential. And I can see children that are not able to create a painting, deciding what to do, or creating something that comes out from their fantasy, from their creativity, because they are too much in the you have to do this, you have to paint this, you have to draw this, you have to play this, you have to write this. We have to change the mindset. Obviously, I know I've been a teacher for many years, not just music teacher. Even when I was an engineer, I was teaching math and technical stuff in secondary school. And what I understood really is that teaching all that stuff wasn't my main goal. My main goal was listening to their needs, and their needs were being supported, being listened, being welcomed. And what children need is creativity, is self trust, is not something judging them for how they write, for how they make math, for how they paint or play music. I think we have to redefine the education environment. I always say that Italian education system doesn't work, and if it works, when it works, is because there are some enlightened teachers and educators that bring passion and love in their work, in their job. And as always, passion and love is the difference. Is what make the difference. So educating someone is about loving someone. It's about not giving them tools, but it's about allowing them to find out tools. So it's creating environments in which they can develop tools, in which environments where they can develop self-esteem, trust in themselves, trust in the process they are doing. But love is the starting point of everything.
Yeah. I can relate to what you are saying in that sense that when they are let to kind of thrive with their own inner intelligence, with just guidance where they need, they know the path. I just want to add that I can see now there are these alternate schools that are trying to experiment, trying to give more freedom to the children. There are parents who are trusting those systems. So even with the work that you do, I can see that there is slowly that shift that is happening. Probably I personally would have liked it to be a bit more faster, but then at least that fact that it is happening, that brings a lot of hope that there can be more and more people involved in teaching who are coming from the place of heart and love and patience, like you said.
Yeah, and that brings awareness. My daughter was in a parental school environment for 6 years, and now is in the public school. But you know, uh, Maria Montessori, that was an incredible and genius Italian teacher and educator and pedagogist. There are a lot of Montessori schools in everywhere in the world, even in India. There are a lot. She used to say that we have create educating communities, and that's the most important thing. So we have to create a community in which families are the first educating agencies, and they don't just send their children to school saying, okay, now it's your turn. We have to work together, because if we work together, like, many drops, then we can make the difference in children's life, but in the world, because children are the future of this world.
The other part I found fascinating, you mentioned somewhere you have facilitated a workshop in a prison. What was that like? That is also a section of the society that is detached from the rest of the world. What was your learning from that experience?
My learning was be always yourself. Sometimes if you grow up in certain environments, your destiny is somehow decided. I mean, it's really hard to go out from that kinds of environment. I've worked with in many situations, but what I remember most is prison in which there were just organized crime, Italian organized crime people. So people that have to spend all their life in prison because they killed other people or something like that. And I didn't want to know what they did, because I didn't want to have prejudice. That experience taught me to be myself and to show myself for who I am, really, because what I did doesn't define me, cannot define me. I understood that showing myself for what I am and relating to the human being, not to the prisoner, to the killer, to the mafia guy, is what made the difference. And that's a lesson for life. For me, every time I relate to someone that it could be a CEO of some big company or children, or doesn't matter the role, doesn't matter the dress. I want to see the human being in front of me, and I show up for what I am, even if obviously it's filtered with what I do really often, no? But I can say that what I do reflects who I am now. So being ourselves always win.
If every person had their own life rhythm, how do you think we can learn to tune into each other's rhythms more deeply?
Listening and connecting. There is this word that is called entrainment. Entrainment is something that happens in the world when some vibrating systems that have different frequencies of vibration come closer, and at a certain point they start to vibrate at the same frequencies. Maybe we have seen the experiment on YouTube with metronomes, and this effect, this entrainment, happens also in human life. Because when we listen, even if we have different rhythms, and we can see it, for example, really quickly, talking about heartbeat, and there are some situations in which our heartbeats connects and stay and go in the same frequency on the same frequency. So listening and being open. So I think that's all. The entrainment is something that happens really always when you hug someone. Your breath starts to connect. Your heartbeat start to connect, and so yeah. Once I think we have experienced the power of entrainment, then we understand deeply that it's really possible to connect with other people, even if we have different rhythms, life rhythms. Because if then I would say also that each one of us has different energy vibration, and really often we are attracted, or we come closer to people that have similar vibrations. That makes also this entrainment easier sometimes.
So, if you could leave to our listeners about how they can start integrating music where they can connect to themselves on their daily lives, what would that be?
I would simply say find the time to discover your inner rhythm. Find the time to listen to yourself. Find the time to sing out yourself. There are some studies about singing that demonstrate that like 7 minutes of singing is like meditating for half an hour. We are vibrations. We are vibrations. We are sound. And now, even all the studies around physics are demonstrating this. We are vibrations, and we are made of water. So, never stop vibrating, and don't low down your frequencies. Discover more. Be curious. That's it.
Thank you so much, Stefano. It was a very soulful connection today talking to you. That's the very least I could put my words into. We're very grateful that you agreed to connect with us and the listeners in such a beautiful, powerful way, and that you brought music into this conversation also. It's a very different kind of an experience. It's not easy to express. Truly, I I'm a person of words, but honestly, I find myself struggling to bring the right words to tell you how much this conversation has meant today.
Thank you very much. It's a big pleasure and a big honor for me. Great honor, really. Sometimes, as you Roshni said, sometimes words cannot express what we feel. And I think it's where music starts to play. That's important of music. Sometimes music and even silence, the silence that is in music, silence is also music, helps us to express something that we cannot describe using words.
Friends, if you have been listening to this episode, we hope it has set your soul on a high with thoughts about the power of music. Music isn't just sound, it's silence, it's emotion, memory, a bridge between hearts and minds. As you reflect, may you recall the moments when music has moved you, connected you, or helped you express what words couldn't. Here are some reflective questions to help you explore the role of music in your life and how it fosters connection, healing, and joy. As you listen to Stefano's insights today, take a moment to reflect on how music has impacted your own life. Have you ever felt connected to a stranger through music? Maybe at a concert, a festival, a celebration, or even just humming the same tune. What was that experience like? Have you used music to process your emotions or just delve into it? What would be your way to use music to transform your connection with self and others? How often do you share music with others? Whether it's playing an instrument, singing, or just sharing a favorite song. How does it strengthen your relationships? And if your life right now had a soundtrack or a rhythm, what would it sound like? And if you could change it, what kind of music would you want it to be? Hope these questions help you connect, reflect, and evolve, journeying with the soul of music.
Thank you so much, Stefano. I and Roshni are really grateful for this soulful conversation with us. Your stories, experiences, and experiments with music, I'm sure would create a powerful inspiration to our listeners as well, like how it did with us to explore and experience the profound healing by connecting to music. We are so blessed. Thank you very much for that. It was beautiful experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next week on the Human Weave podcast, we have another special guest, David Miller, to dive into a fascinating and relatable aspect of today's world dynamics, the experience of moving away from home for newer opportunities. Together, we'll explore what it truly means to leave behind the familiar and navigate the challenge of building a sense of belonging and connection in an entirely new place. Whether you have relocated for work, education, or a fresh start, this conversation will resonate with you and offer meaningful insights. So make sure you tune in for the Human Weave podcast. For now, it is a sign off from your host, Yash and Rosh. See you next week. Stay connected, stay curious.